Announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
It is I, it is he, it is me, P-double-D-E Tepwakuian from the Place to Be Reviews, right here with all of yous. This is Going in Rogue Friday night. I am the most criminally underrated YouTuber you've never heard of, the FANDOM Menace, People's Champion, right here with you. And joining me this evening, making his debut on the channel, ladies and gentlemen, Scott from the Sporking News Podcast.
What up, what up, what up? What are we doing? Where am I? I wanted to have as much energy as you, but I can't do it, man. I can't do it. That is, you go to the next level.
Well, man, I gotta overcompensate at times for lacking certain things, which is like hair and things like that. But my energy level will keep it going. I got 2 streams tonight, but we're gonna start out by talking about some Mandalorian, and I'm glad to have Scott here on the show. This is, like I said, his debut on the Place to Be Reviews, and very, very happy to have you, sir. Thank you for joining me this evening.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. We were talking earlier about the Mandalorian in the chat, and I said, I want to talk about this tonight while this is still fresh in my mind, because this is the first time this season I've been able to catch an episode on premiere day. So
right.
And it didn't disappoint, man. Carl Weathers directed. This is chapter 12, The Siege. What were your first impressions of this episode?
So to get it out there right away, I'm not a fan of this show that much. I watch it more to review it. There are things about this show I love. There are things about this show that angers me. Mm-hmm. I have to say this is one of my more. This is probably my favorite. Definitely my favorite episode of this season so far. I think he did a fantastic job directing. There was a couple choices there that they did, your little member berries, which I thought were great. And Gina Carano. I mean, my wife didn't realize who Gina Carano was. And she asked me why I was talking about some goddess girl on social media the other day. She literally just did this about an hour ago. And I go, honey, it's Gina Carano. She's like, and who's that broad? And I'm like, she's an actress. She's like, oh, okay, that's fine then. I was like, God damn, so I'm even defending Gina in my own house.
I got my wife was like, we were watching it earlier because I watched it with my son this morning, and she watched it tonight with us. And she was like, man, I see why you like her. She's hot. I'm like, I told you. I'm like, yeah. She's legit, man. Plus,
she's a woman.
She is, yes. That is the queen of the FANDOM Menace right there. She is.
Yes,
she sits at the head of the table on that throne and wears the crown well, and it's well deserved because she refuses to bend the knee on Twitter. I actually got a couple pronouns in the bio people to block me yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah,
you're doing good.
Yep. I had one, and one of them actually quoted my tweet and called me a FANDOM Menace bigot, which is beautiful. I'm like, really? Right. I'm like, you're attacking a woman, and I see your pronouns would state you're a male, or at least you identify as one. So, you're attacking a woman. Hang on, let me acknowledge Salvador here. Let's see. He's something to think about. Those can't be clones of Snoke because all those are being made on Exegol, however you spell it. Plus, they said volunteer for injections. I'm pretty sure this is one more spike being driven as a wedge between the show and the Disney trilogy. I think so too, brother. Hail Salvador. He is the proprietor and the Don of 2 Cents Toys, the one of the premier toy channels in the FANDOM Menace, and he is a great friend of the show. He's one of my longest running guests, and he's just my brother from another mother, man. Love that guy. But yeah, this is kind of been an attempt to retcon some of the Disney trilogy, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, I was streaming with Culture Casino earlier on his
Mm,
channel, and that's exactly what I said to him. I said, so from people we've talked to in the background of these things, people that work outside of Disney but know people within Disney, this season has become a backdoor pilot season for quite a few different shows they're thinking about.
yeah.
And you could tell this was one of them. I would call the show The Marshal. Like they want to have a show about this town, her as the marshal, Carl Weathers as running the town.
Yep.
But you're right. It seems like if they do that, now you're 5 years after the last battle, and I said Yemen on his show. I said the last battle of Yemen. He's like, yeah, that's not it, Scott. I'm like, yeah, I fucked that up. Sorry. I don't know if I can swear or not. My bad.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's all good, man.
All right. So, but it's 5 years after. If you have now these shows that branch off, well, now they might not be retconning this Disney sequels. They might actually be doing a different universe. And that's what I think they will end up doing something in that time period, but their philosophy is we're not actually retconning, we're just creating another universe. And Marvel opened the door to us doing that. The Clone Wars opened the door for them to do that. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Long-winded, but that's what I'm going with.
No. That's why I have you on, man. I want to just sit back, and if you have something that you want to say, dude, I'm giving you the floor. No, that's absolutely it. You're a guest in my house, and I let my guests have the time that they need to get their points across, brother. That is absolutely fine.
Appreciate it.
No, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. Hail Angelus Draven. Hail all, he says.
Yeah.
Sir. He will actually be joining me at 8:45 Eastern for our watch party tonight. We are watching Sworn to Justice with Cynthia Rothrock. If you're a fan of the karate movies with badass women, and as we're talking about Gina Carano, I don't think there would be a Gina Carano without Cynthia Rothrock. And Cynthia Rothrock was fighting men before because there were no women for her to fight in karate. And she's legit. At 60 years old, I would date her before I would date most 20-year-olds. She's amazing. She's an amazing woman. And so we're watching Sworn to Justice tonight. So let's see. Sal says Rebels had the world between worlds.
Oh, that's right. Rebels. I'm sorry.
Yep. Grandpa Palpy wanted to access so he could expand his power across all worlds and times. I've never seen an episode of Rebels. I've seen clips, but I've never seen an episode of Rebels. So
I actually just started it so I can actually talk about it.
I know my son and I are probably going to watch that. I need to finish the Clone Wars. Honestly, I'm on season 5. So, but
I watched that chronological.
Okay.
I jumped towards the end. You're watching seasons, but at the beginning you're jumping like season 1 to season 3 for a couple episodes and back. I really liked the Clone Wars. I didn't like everything Dave Filoni did because he kind of screwed up, the universe. But Rebels, I'm just starting, actually. I wonder how that's going to be, but that's exactly, he is absolutely right. That is where they did like that world beyond worlds idea.
Yep. I did have to kind of look into that and watch some stuff on YouTube, just some clips, because I didn't understand, like when they were going into the Rise of Skywalker, I'm like, how are they going to, if they do this, because I wanted my bases covered. Because I knew that was going to be a hot mess in that movie.
So you're like me when it comes to Star Wars. I thought I was a dork until I met all the people we know.
Yeah. Like I know
everybody knows stuff, man. Woo!
Yep. I know the movies and, some of the lore outside, some EU stuff. I'm not a huge EU guy. But just doing my own little research and things like that, is how I learned a lot outside, because I was always just like in movies. I had some comics and stuff like that. I actually just got the Han Solo Age of Rebellion #1. And one of the Bounty Hunter comics the other day. The Han Solo one wasn't bad. I'm sure EU guys would probably tear it to pieces, but it really wasn't bad. And that's the thing with Mandalorian. I'm seeing a big rift now. Is at first it got a lot of love, and now people are starting to kind of drift away from it. I really enjoyed. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, there's a lot of member berries in there, but I think it's done well enough by someone who actually truly loves Star Wars and Jon Favreau.
Right.
And I have so much faith in him just because really, if you look at it, he's the architect of the MCU.
Yeah. God, yeah. You're absolutely right.
Jon Favreau's, Jon Favreau built the foundation of the house that Kevin Feige lives in.
Yes.
He did. And I don't want to take anything away from Feige, even though I'm not the biggest Feige guy.
Oh, Feige weaseled his way into taking over that.
Yep.
So, I mean, he definitely didn't have the idea, but he is a creative guy towards the end now. It's just, where is he going with it? That's my question. Is he going, I feel like he might go super woke, but whatever.
Oh, they are. And that was like kind of, the correlation to Star Wars with him is, he was originally supposed to do a Star Wars movie. And now we're talking about all these spin-off shows bridging from the Mandalorian. And in particular, what the like you said, the Cara Dune possibility. They have they're already leaning on Bo-Katan, and aren't they thinking about a Boba Fett, Ahsoka Tano?
Yeah, there's like 6 of them right now. I know of 5 that someone told me personally about. I know that Culture and like Tom, they know of a couple more that they were actually gonna try, and I think they went down to 6, not including Ewan McGregor's show, but there's actually 6 that they may attempt in this season of only 8 freaking episodes. Yeah. So I don't know if like that first episode was considered one. I know after the fact, people feel like if he had a show, he would do well. I thought they might try to cross him over with Cara Dune because they're both like the Marshal, So, and they would be amazing on screen together. But what did you feel about this episode? Did you catch at the very beginning? I don't know if anybody else caught this. The very first sound you hear is the sound of the Millennium Falcon failing to go into hyperspace or light speed in Empire. No, not Empire. In New Hope.
New Hope.
In A New Hope. And that was the very first sound you heard of this when the Razor Crest was flying by.
Yep. It kind of caught my ear, and I'm like, and I didn't think much of it. I'm like, it couldn't have been.
Right.
But I liked the episode. I really liked them going to that Imperial base. I'm a huge, I love the Empire. I do. I'm a heel fan. I was a heel in I've talked about wrestling. I was a heel in wrestling, and I've always been a heel fan because the bad guys are always cooler. They are. It's just life. The bad guys have the better weapons.
They needed it too, right, man? They needed to tell us what the hell was going on a little bit more with this freaking child, which I know Ryan Kindle is a bigger channel, so everybody knows, but we have, like, when this show first started, we both agreed how that could ruin the whole series if they lean into this child too much. Like, I'm hoping this child is gone by the end of this season. Because it's not about the Mandalorian.
That's it, man. I enjoy the Baby Yoda thing. Like, he's adorable. He is, man. I'm not gonna lie. Little shit is cute. But at the same time, I'll get back to your comment in a minute, Sal. I really want to see just the Mandalorian. I want to see him with that, because he's kind of like, I don't want to say handicapped, but he's kind of like got a handicap because he's got to take care of the kid all the time. Right. So even with the Force abilities and stuff like that, it still it does take away. It takes me out of the show a little bit, because you'll have like
they went with the Groot. They went with the Groot thing this at the very beginning, where Groot's like pushing the button. Well, now the child is put the red one in there. Like, the writing is not up to par, but it's like, is he a comic relief? Is he the emotional anchor? Like, what the frig is the child to this series?
They've kind of been bipolar with that.
Yeah, there you go. Good word. Yep.
Thank you. They've truly been bipolar with him, because they just kind of change. Like I said, it is bipolar. It changes by the episode, or actually sometimes midway through an episode, you'll have these serious moments. You'll have these comedic moments with him, like him with the cookies in the classroom, using the Force to grab the cookies, and then throwing up. throwing up on
Right.
himself in the Razor Crest, you know, when they were doing the spin during the dog fight with the TIE fighters, which was a freaking awesome scene. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes. Yeah. The action, Favreau's action direction, or just the action, Carl Weathers directing it. You know, the idea of doing it like that, it was dope. It was definitely dope. The action in this series, I can't complain. Like, yes, I didn't like the Dune worm that they fought, you know, but in the first one,
the Crate Dragon,
a Dune worm. I'm not even going to give it that props. It was a Dune worm.
It was. It was a
shitty. It was a shitty sandworm too. But you know, they stole that. They ripped that right out of one of the games from back in the day. But like, this episode was definitely like, Cara Dune didn't have to fight the way she fought in the first scene, but yet it was great to watch. It was great. Yes. It was a great fight scene. You know, so the action is great. The dialogue is lacking, but that part with the child where he was using the Force to get the cookies. Oh, that's so cute. The kid didn't notice he used the Force. Ha, ha, ha. There's like 28 other kids in that freaking class. You just put a green Muppet down in a chair. You don't think a kid was staring at that goddamn Muppet and saw it use the Force and start screaming like, what the hell just happened?
Yep.
You know, like, they didn't think about shit like that. What they do is they just, let's go for the laughs. That's where Favreau is failing. Like, the idea of them allowing that to happen bothers me.
That's it. And to me, it goes back to, Sal, not as good as Rey and the Falcon, though. She can scope 3 ties with one shot.
Yeah. Well, she's the chosen one.
Oh, my God, triple kill. Look what I did.
Yeah.
I'm all the Jedi.
I downloaded the Force. I learned how to do it by downloading it when I was getting my brain scrambled. Like, what the fuck?
Hand me your lightsaber, Kylo, for Skype.
Yeah, for Skype. Here, you need this. Now do your Han Solo pose.
The weakest, like, Han Solo shrug attempt I've ever seen.
Yeah. That was. Though I wish we got to see more Ben Solo, even though that is the dumbest freaking name ever. Why would they ever call their kid Ben? I could see Luke calling a kid Ben. Oh, wait a minute, he did. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's just Disney.
Yeah, they don't have any idea what they're doing. Sal's going back to our earlier point about the bad guys being cooler. Skeletor is greater than He-Man. Empire is better than Rebels. Cobra's better than G.I. Joe. Yes, they are.
Yeah, the list goes on.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, you were talking about Cara Dune's fight sequences. Yeah, at the beginning of the episode, I don't know what those creatures are called, but it's the one from the cantina, the most
butt faces. I always called them as a kid.
Yep. Yeah, the one that was with Dr. Evazan. I could watch her fight all day because it's so fluid, and it's like it's believable because it's like I've seen her, you know, I followed her MMA career,
right?
And so it's like no stunt woman needed. You know, she's like, yep, I got this. You know, who you need to hip toss or, you know, throw somebody. It's like I love it, man.
And I feel like she bulked up for this series. Her arms are massive.
Yes, they are. And somebody posted, I can't remember what group it was, in a picture of her with that dude in the officer in a chokehold. And my only comment was, I want to trade places with him and not tell her the safe word.
Exactly. I ain't tapping out.
That's all I'm saying. I die happy, man. What's up, Ray? What's up, Raiders of the Lost Flicks? What's up, Groovinator? How you doing, man? And for those of you regularly following Raiders of the Lost Flicks, you can tune in right here, 8:45 tonight. Groovinator is unavailable, so I am taking the show on the road, so to speak, and hosting it on my channel this week. He'll be back next week, same bat time, same bat channel. But this week we're watching the movie on mine after we're done talking Mandalorian here. But no, Cara Dune is, the character's great. Like I said, I would love to see a spin-off series with her and Carl Weathers. They have a great chemistry together. And that, what is that? Is that town Navarro? Is that what it's called? They're
Dave Navarro. Yeah.
I was like, at first I was like, did they say Bavaro? I was like, that's in the Dominican Republic. I'm like, wait a minute. I was like,
no, that's how I remember it. Dave Navarro. That's the minute they said that, I started thinking Jane's Addiction. I was like, okay, all right, I got this one.
Mr. Carmen Electra.
Yeah, Mr. Carmen Electra, right? He this I think it's called Navarro. That's the green area, right?
Yeah. Yes. Right. I do. I like I like the dynamic there, and now that they've kind of got the Imperial remnants out of there, I'd like to see how it progresses moving forward. And you mentioned earlier Timothy Oliphant in her with a cross. He was great. I have to say I'm a big Timothy Oliphant.
He is great. The dude is. I mean, Deadwood is one of the best shows ever.
I've never seen Deadwood. I've never seen Deadwood.
Sit down after your stream tonight and watch like the first like 3 episodes of Deadwood. You'll never hear more swearing in your life. It's fantastic.
One of my favorite characters on Fear the Walking Dead is a Deadwood alum, and that's Garrett Dillahunt.
Who does he play in Walking Dead?
He plays a Old West type, like kind of Southern. He was a sheriff at one point, kind of like Rick Grimes.
Okay.
He after his law enforcement days, he was like a trick shooting cowboy. So he's a badass in the show.
I think I think he's Hitchcock, isn't he?
John Dory is the character's name on Fear the Walking Dead. But I don't know who he was on Deadwood. All I know is he's a Deadwood alum. Because they were talking about
Fear of the Walking Dead. I only watched the first season of that.
It got terrible for like 4 seasons, and this season has like completely come around.
Hey man, rock on then. My wife is rewatching The Walking Dead right now. Just got past the Sasha part in the box.
Yeah.
So, that's where I left off. I need to get back in just to finish it.
I was Negan for Halloween this year.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan is a badass, man, and Negan is a badass in the comics. So that is a great character.
Actually, not to get too far off topic here, because I could talk about Walking Dead for hours and hours. They just announced the 6 episodes that are going to precede the final 6 episodes of season 10, shall we say? Because the last episode was not the finale. The last episode, they released the titles. The last episode of season 10 is called Here's Negan. And being a Walking Dead comic fan, I could only get so erect. They cast Hillary Burton, Jeffrey Dean Morgan's real wife, as Lucille. So I am just like, and I remember her from One Tree Hill as
she was Hillary, was it, or something like that? Dude, I watched One Tree Hill. I don't give a shit.
Me too.
I'm the type of guy. My wife calls me. She says sometimes, Scott, there's a 16-year-old girl in you, isn't there? I was like, that could be dangerous to say out loud to people, but there's some shows that just catch me, and I'm like, I'll watch it for a little bit, and by the end, I'm like, why are you dating him?
I know,
Jesus Christ, you know.
And then they brought One Tree Hill back for like the later years. I still watch that, you know.
Well, One Tree Hill was smart. They skipped the whole college years.
Yep.
They didn't go through the Beverly Hills 90210. What the hell are they doing? Phase of college. That's funny that you said that. One Tree Hill. That was like I worked second shift, and I started watching it on syndication, and I was just like, what is this crap? Because I was a fan of the OC.
I watched that show too. I watched it too. It was good.
I thought that show was great. I don't give a fuck what anybody says about it. The first season of that, when there was like one of the best corny teen drama shows ever. And for some reason, I could not let go of that show. I was like, my wife again, what the hell are you watching? I'm like, I can't help myself. First of all, that one girl is so hot.
Which one? Rachel Bilson?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Fuck yeah. She was on that Dixie show on the CW. Yeah, she's Heart of Dixie, whatever. She's a smoke show.
She is a smoke show. She's related to Star Wars in a way, if you want to go degrees of. Wasn't she with Anakin for the longest time?
I think she was. Yeah.
They might even still be together. I don't know. Like that.
I know she had a kid a couple years ago, so it could be a little Annie. I don't know.
Right?
I wonder if the kid hates sand. The kid probably does not like to go near sandboxes. I'll guarantee that.
I would headbutt that kid. Not the actor who played him, just Anakin in the prequels. I would love to headbutt him. I can't stand him.
Well, we're talking about TV shows that are off the walls. I was watching Melrose Place last night.
That's a classic.
I love that show. Michael Mancini is my favorite character. Thomas Calabro's character, Dr. Mancini, man. He's the man.
Hell yeah. He was the one with the redhead chick, right? That turned out was somebody's sister.
He was with Sydney. That was James.
Yeah, she was his smoke show.
I watched a Lifetime movie just because she Laura Layton's her name was in it.
Okay.
She's actually married to Doug Savant from Melrose Place and Desperate Housewives.
Wow.
Yep.
Me and you could do a corny like stream about like those type of shows. And that goes to show you when people think we're sexist and male chauvinist, we're not. We're just people that like what we like. You know,
Yo.
like if I don't like a character, I'm going to tell you that. If I like a character, I'm going to admit to it. Like
Yep.
I like cheesy vampire movies. I like corny, like chick flick shows. I don't care what it is. If it catches my eye, I'm going to watch it and be honest about it.
Absolutely, man. And thank you guys. Thank you for joining us in the chat. Dude, Dallas is another one of my shows I absolutely love.
I grew up watching Falcon Crest. I couldn't tell you one thing about it right now, but I remember that as a kid, my mom used to get me to watch that in General Hospital.
Dynasty. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, all those.
Yep.
All those.
Oh shit! But back to the Mandalorian before we go.
Yeah, let's not. Yeah, all our credit is out the window, so let's just go back to it.
We might as well. But no, so the opening sequence, we had the fight sequence, and then like you said, they go. You know, they have the where they're working on the ship, which, like you said, it was very Groot-esque.
Right.
Yeah, that was, you could tell that was kind of a big Marvel lean there.
Yeah.
I really, like I said, I love the interior of the Empire base there. It was cool.
That was dope.
What I don't like, and I just, for once, I would like to see the stormtroopers be somewhat competent. Like, for fuck's sake, man.
I mean, in the history, they are supposed to be excellent marksmen.
Yeah,
stormtroopers are excellent marksmen. I mean, Ben Kenobi tells us that in A New Hope. Yep. And yet, ever since he said that, right after that, they can't hit, for shit. And it's something that's always bothered me. And when you had Rogue One with the black, what were those? Death Squad
troopers. Mm-hmm.
How great of a shot were they? They still weren't as good as you would want them to be. These are supposed to be like highly trained soldiers. That's something that's always gotten me with Star Wars. But let me ask you a question about what you think is going on there.
Mm. Oh, the cloning facility type thing.
Yeah.
I looked, I watched that. I watched episode twice today, and the first glimpse you can only see like the bodies and like the tank. It's almost like a Bacta tank. It looks like.
Oh yeah. I'll go with that too.
But at the end of it, you see them. It looks like they're almost in like black armor. When they were.
Well, that was different. I don't know what that is.
I was like, are those super soldiers? Is what I'm thinking. Like,
right. I thought they might be like some form of droids, but because you don't see any faces. At first I thought he was staring at some type of like Darth Vader.
That's what it looked like. Yeah,
at first that's what I thought, but I feel like it's not cloning, because he talked about the volunteers. So those guys I don't believe were clones, they were volunteers. What I think Moff Gideon's trying to do is find a way to have a blood transfusion, because he said his M counts. So he's talking about midichlorians.
Yep.
So I think he wants to get some form of a blood transfusion so he could be force sensitive, because he seems to be a definite Sith like fanboy.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I think the idea of, they're trying to clone the babies or the child or whatever the freaking thing is called. They're trying to use its blood to make a cloned blood that he can then blood transfuse with his to become force sensitive, which in a weird way is kind of a really cool idea.
It is because, like I said, the midichlorians in the blood determine the strength of your force capabilities.
Yes.
Why wouldn't those?
That's canon.
That is
right. That's canon.
Yep.
I would totally do it if I could.
Oh fuck yeah! and you had absolutely, you had that Dr. Pershing, the transmission with him, and that's the whole spiel was talking about that, and we could only harvest so much blood from the child. So
right, because he didn't want to kill it, because he needed it. So now we know what he was doing in that episode where the Mandalorian saved him.
I'm still bummed that they killed off. What was the client's name? Warner Herzog. Oh,
he was awesome.
His voice, like I want him to be like my GPS.
I totally want him to talk shit to me as I drive. Yes,
it's so great.
I want him to be like, left-hand turns are a complication. Whatever he says. That dude is dope.
The child.
Yes. You better come to complete stop. Okay. All right. Well, makes you feel like he's gonna kill you.
I know. But no, that that's a nice little like tie-in for from season 1.
Right.
I think I picked up now. Did you pick up on the one mechanic that was working for Karga in the beginning? The look that
Yes.
he gave. I picked up on that right away. I was like,
Right away. I was like, that bug-eyed motherfucker.
that's a spy. I was like, that's a fucking spy right there. I was like, he's an
Yeah.
Imperial.
Yeah.
Sure as shit. Yep.
Yep.
He's giving that
I
state.
mean, you know, they got some hot girls working as, you know, officers now. So you got to give that to the Empire.
Yeah, a little diversity in hiring there, a little sexual diversity.
Yeah.
I'm down with that. You know? I was just waiting
So
for
let me
to
ask you a
take the hat
question.
off.
Is Moff Gideon the beginning of the First Order?
You know, I think
Is he like the predecessor or like the actual founding member of? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
It looks like they're kind of setting him up to be, because the X-wing pilots are New Republic. So these are Imperial remnants, and they haven't really formed the Empire yet. I'm thinking he is. He's either, like I said, he's either like the godfather of the First Order, or you know, just a major precursor to it.
Yeah.
But they're definitely setting him up to be a driving force behind the reformation of the power that they accrued in such a short time, seemingly. You know?
Yeah, I mean, and if it comes from, you know, like, yes, the Empire collapsed after the Death Star exploded and the Sith were killed, but I mean, there was outposts everywhere. There was other ships. There was other planets they were stationed on. So why not have a Moff who tries to consolidate power and then create his own? And I thought it is dope that, because he had to have close ties with the Emperor for being a Moff, you know, so he knows of the Force, and him trying to clone the blood. Like, I freaking can't stand the child, but the idea of cloning a Force user's blood to then make yourself a Force user, I find, like, I want to know that journey. I want to see where that goes.
Yeah, that is very it's interesting, and it's a really actually cool it's a cool play that they're taking that direction they're taking that in. Was Draven say, I thought Hux and his father were the start of the New Order, at least from what Disney Canon said. See, I don't know. I haven't. Really
I don't know that either. See, I know Hux is a, you know, what do you want to call it? A purist, but I don't know who his father was. I have never read any of those you know, the books they put out to explain their movies. I never felt the need to. I should have to read that.
Yeah, it's like if I have to read a novelization, but with the Disney movies, you actually almost have to, because they're so convoluted with everything, and everything's so backwards. And that's and oh, go ahead, bro.
No, I wanted to know what that post was doing with the lava, like what actually they were trying to like get out of that, controlling the, you know, using it for geothermal something. I don't know. Like, I wish we learned a little bit more about the outpost. So the acting in this episode was better.
Very.
I just, you know, like the last episode, the woman who works in the garage, like, I feel like, or like, I've always said, like, I love Bill Burr, but I felt like a dude from Boston was in space, you know? People I grew up with, like that. It's a bunch of those guys just out in space. Like, I feel like, for what I was told the show was going to be, the acting, I felt like it should have been more Game of Thrones than CW, you know? And I feel like I got more CW in the acting.
Okay.
But this episode was much better.
Yeah, I was a fan.
The Oliphant.
Oh yeah, dude. I was a fan of episode 3 though. I'm not gonna lie, because you got Katie Sackhoff. You got,
she's dope.
Yeah, she's another one. Like, if Gina Carano wasn't sitting on the throne, it'd be Katie Sackhoff.
Oh yeah, she's a nerd. She's a nerd goddess.
Yep, absolutely. And I had to give it up for Sasha Banks. I wasn't a fan of her in the ring, but aesthetically and she looks hot. She looks hot in Mandalorian. I'm not. She didn't have to say much, you know. I don't think she had a couple lines,
right?
But it's something where if you let her just kind of be tough, and you know, that'll
she
work.
Looks like a badass.
Yep, it'll work a little bit better, because her acting is you can tell she's a little just not quite there, and that's fine.
Yeah,
you're
she's
new,
new
you're
at
new
it,
to
man.
it. So grow into it. Absolutely.
I could work with people like that. I could work with
Yep.
people like that her face had charisma. Just
Yes.
her looks had that charisma that, okay, she could be an actress and
Yep.
definitely in a Star Wars TV show.
Mhm.
From what I've seen from season 1 and 2, come on.
Yeah.
I think she could definitely do it. That episode wasn't bad. But again, it was a backdoor pilot, so
Mhm.
I'm kind of sick and tired. Every episode this season is Mando flies into town. Mando needs work on his ship. He'll trade his work for helping you out do some type of job.
Yep.
That's pretty much been the season.
Yeah. And they really need to be careful with taking every episode to set up another show, because
oh god, yeah,
that just waters down what you're doing with your main show. And
oh god, yeah,
people
I said that last year.
Yep, people are going to start to
see through it.
Yeah, it's a thinly veiled process that you're using to do that anyway.
Yep.
So you're gonna make people jaded again and say, oh well, you're just introducing this character. It's like, oh, here's the Mandalorian and this person and this person. It's like, and you get a show and you get a show. It's like Oprah with a book of the month.
It's DC over Marvel. That's what they're doing. They're forcing these shows way too fast. What they should have done is had one backdoor pilot this season.
Mm-hmm.
One. And the rest of it is the Mandalorian's mission to drop off Baby Yoda. Yeah. What they did is, oh my God, we finally have something that might make money for Star Wars. We've lost so much. And I said this, if season 1 was good, Favreau is a purist. He loves what he does. He might not be the most canon guy in the world, but he loves Star Wars, like you said. But he will not be able to keep the execs out of The Mandalorian. And he wasn't able to. He has to have all these episodes that are setting up the whole freaking universe instead of doing it one this season, maybe one next season, very slowly building this universe. Because if you didn't learn anything from another property you own, Marvel did the long game, and it freaking paid off for them, at least up until Infinity War. It paid off.
Yeah. And that's the problem, is like you said, it's DC. They're trying to put everything up front and do it all right now, and not sit back and play your cards right and just play them one at a time and ease into it. Like I said, you need to stick to your main plot, which is Mando getting the child to the Jedi. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's you to have tunnel vision, one offshoot, and then tunnel vision. Go back to your main storyline. Don't water it down. Don't spread yourself too thin to where, like you said, people will resent that, and they're going to remember it. Obviously, the fandom has a good memory. We don't forget things, and everybody, like I said, it's you still, like you said, you've got people who don't like the show, but you watch it just because it's decent Star Wars. I look at it kind of like Rogue One. Rogue One was not a great movie,
right?
But it's the best Star Wars we had before this came out since Disney took over. That was live action.
I was a fan of Rogue One. I know it's not like a lot of people with the extended universe can't stand it because of what they did, but I don't know the extended universe like other people do. Mm-hmm. So when I saw that movie, I said, okay, they could have done better with building up these characters, but I still thought it was an action-packed. Like, I didn't expect them to do what they did at the end with everybody. I was like, oh, someone's going to have to live through this. But we learned in that, the crawl of A New Hope that, they didn't make it, and they actually stuck to that. And I thought that was pretty cool.
It was the first movie to me that really was like more of a war movie than anything. It was, because you've had battles and you had skirmishes. Like, I mean, obviously you had like the war with the Trade Federation in the prequels, but Rogue One was like straight up just like a gritty war movie.
Yep. And Rogue One told you right away it was not part of the Palpatine, series.
The Palpatine saga.
Yeah, the Palpatine saga. It wasn't a part of that. It was its own by not having a crawl going directly to the episode or the movie. I liked it. I liked it a lot compared to anything else I've seen from Disney. And that actress, I love her. So whatever.
Oh, Felicity Jones.
Oh God, yeah.
Yep. She was okay. I don't have any problem with her. The character, I would have liked to seen the character a little more fleshed out.
Yes, agreed.
They didn't do her justice because and then I didn't like what Disney said when they went back and they were like, oh well, Luke didn't destroy the Death Star. It was all Jyn Erso and all that, and they did that in one of the books.
Bullshit.
Yeah, yep. I did a video about that. That pissed me off. I'm like, and I don't want to turn on Rogue One, but I'm like, don't say that Luke Skywalker didn't do anything.
Right. And why are you saying it was just Jyn Erso? It was her squad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that to me is even more sexist that you have to just define one woman did it instead of a group of people that all sacrificed their lives just so that message can get out.
Yeah.
That angered me so much when I heard that, man.
Yep. It was bullshit. That really bugged me. But other than
that's our climate, right? That's the climate we're in.
You got to take the good, and it's like you got you get a little bit of good. It's like there's gonna be some shit sprinkled in there. It's like you just got to deal with it.
But don't you agree? That's why people like The Mandalorian, because they're so used to getting a shit sandwich. They're like, oh my God, they actually put tomato and lettuce on this shit.
Yeah.
So like it added some flavor.
It is. It's like it's like we had the original trilogy, which is like I would say filet mignon. Then you have the prequels, which is like, it's a
it's going to a chain steakhouse.
Yeah, like Texas. What is that? Texas Roadhouse.
Texas Roadhouse. Like you're gonna get an all right steak, but it's not like it's not prime. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Then you have the sequel trilogy, which is like eating roadkill.
Yeah, like a tofu burger.
Oh yeah. Ugh. Yeah. That. So when you got Rogue One, it was like, oh, okay. This is digestible, right. It's a nice departure.
Don't forget, it came out right after the first episode, right?
Yep.
Episode 7.
2016.
So a lot of people were still like, oh, because I saw Force Awakens and I was like, wow, this was just a rehash of A New Hope. Okay. I guess, that's what they're going with. So I wasn't as angry as I was after The Last Jedi. So like when I saw Rogue One, now if I saw Rogue One after The Last Jedi, I probably wouldn't like it as much as I do. You know what I mean? Like, because I wasn't so angry already.
Yep. Yeah, because I watched when I saw Force Awakens. I didn't go to the theater and watch it. I saw the trailers and I heard a couple early reviews, and then a couple of my friends went to see it. I'm just like, well, that sounds like A New Hope. That's exactly what I said. So I went to see Rogue One when that came out, and I was like, this is good. And then one of my coworkers, when The Last Jedi came out, was like, hey, you want to go see a new Star Wars movie? I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm like, I don't, the guy that directed it, I'm like, what's he done? He did Looper. I'm like, and I saw Looper, and I was like,
yeah.
And what that other movie, I never watched it, but he did. It was called Brick. I was just like, I wasn't, I already wasn't a fan, and so he talked me into it. So, like, all right, man, we go, because I had been to a theater, I said to see, it was like, well, I went to see Rogue One, so I'm like, all right, we'll go watch it,
It's Star Wars.
Yep, it's Star Wars. I'll go see it. Within the mama jokes at the beginning with Poe and Hux. I was like, I was sitting there in the theater and my fists were clenching. I'm like,
how do they just even allow him to sit there that long?
Yep.
Come on, man.
Like they
turned Hux into I thought he was going to be a villain, and they turned him into a joke.
He could have been Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yeah, he was a great actor. The kid who played him is a great actor, Gleason.
And I'm not saying that he's anywhere near Peter Cushing. I'm just saying that character-wise, it could have been that level of villain, absolutely. And he was actually in Ex Machina with Oscar Isaac. Yeah, they're in Ex Machina with that other little dime piece there from.
She's smoking hot.
Alicia Vikander. Who actually might play Spider-Woman. She was fingers crossed she was up for it.
Oh, wait a minute. She didn't play Laura Croft, right? That's what's her name?
That's Alicia.
That is her. Okay.
In the reboot, the 2018 reboot.
Yep. Yes.
She's actually married to Michael Fassbender too. Lucky son of a bitch.
Mother.
I know. But no, this is totally off topic here. This is I like to.
Yeah.
We can just get like, just kind of go on these little like cutaways.
Don't worry, Angela Straven earlier was like, I like the OC. I met Ben McKenzie, who played Ryan and Gordon. I was like, oh, that's dope, dude.
I know. I'm gonna fucking that's awesome. Draven, if you got an autograph, you got to show us that too. We got to see the autograph.
Some type of picture.
Yeah. But so Last Jedi, man, I was like, I was out of that movie within 5 minutes. I was just sitting there, and then like it just kept going, and I'm like, I had a a nice feeling about what they were going to do with Finn, and then they cucked Finn out for fucking Potato Sack Tico, who Kelly Marie Tran, beautiful woman. She's absolutely lovely.
Terrible fucking character.
Terrible character. The bomber scene at the beginning of that. I'm like, so these bombers are basically made of paper mache. Right. I'm like, the captain, that Callie chick that okay. So the dumbest fucking command I have ever heard in any any war movie. I love it. She's like, couldn't be more. It's like what she say. She's like, bombers, keep that tight formation. Fighters, protect the bombers. I'm like, Captain fucking obvious. Where is he at? Is he gonna pop out anywhere? I'm like, come on,
dude. Bombers in space. That is the dumbest shit. Like, if I ever joined, and I was like, oh, where are they gonna station me? A bomber in space.
Yep.
I would have been like, no, just kill me now. Just put me up for a court martial, because who the hell, magnet bombs drop and what happens if they're not close enough, then they'll just float there. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait. Clown World Review. Star Wars in a sentence. Watch a nasally, whiny brat evolved into a puss who's afraid to fight, ultimately costing his badass father his life. Yeah,
absolutely.
Tony Tone, Dev, you got that one right, brother. You got that one right on the nose, man. But yeah, that movie, and then they go into the Canto Bite, and you waste Benicio del Toro. In nothing.
He was such a waste in that movie.
Yeah, I'm like, this guy. I was like, has Ryan Johnson ever seen Fear and Loathing? Like, what are you doing to this man? What are you doing to this man?
He's a great actor. Usual Suspects. I mean, he.
Oh yeah.
Undervalued in that movie.
Yeah.
And I understand he was supposed to be the flip of Han Solo, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what Ryan Johnson was going for. Flipping all your thought, what you thought this movie was going to be, flip it completely, to shit. I don't know.
Where's my at? Hang on, where's he at? Here he is. Hang on, let's ask him. Ryan,
I was just being subversive. You man babies aren't smart enough to process how spectacular my movie was. Canto Bite had anti-capitalist messaging and animal
Ryan, shut up. That's enough out of you.
Yeah, that's enough. I mean,
Ryan. He
literally said if 50% of the people watching my movie hate it or angry by it, then I did well. Who? You're such an arrogant prick.
What other business can operate under that model? Do you imagine a restaurant?
Meteorologist. That's all I can think of.
Yep. Meteorologists and politicians. I'm pretty sure that's
right. Right. That's about it, man.
That's about it. But no, so I mean, if you look at everything we've got to bring this back to, this is why people have flocked to the Mandalorian and supported it, because it's not great. But it's great by comparison. It's that girl you pick up at last call with the beer goggles on. You know, the next morning you wake up, is she like Coyote Ugly? No. But is she a 10 that you thought she was? No. She's like a 6.5. She's like a Scranton 6.
I related it. I related it. I like that one because we've all been there. I related it to more as a kid when you went to a camp and the nurse had a daughter and she's not very pretty, but by the end of camp, because you're with a bunch of just, either boys or the girls are separate, that girl becomes beautiful. Yep. That's what that was.
Absolutely. Oh God. Tony. I love Kelly Marie Tran, how I love sand. Oh goddamn, I love you, man. You gotta check out if you're a Legend of Zelda fan. All right. If you're Legend of Zelda, if you're an old school Ninja Turtles fan, if you're a fan of Masters of the Universe, stay tuned. Go over to the Clown World review and subscribe. Tony just put out a Legend of Zelda video today. It's a
no shit
precursor to Age of Calamity, I believe, is the game that's coming out. So yeah, he did a video about that. And he's done, like I said, he's reviewing the Legend of Zelda cartoon right now. So yeah, I gotta
get links to these guys because that's what bothered. Like, I get to meet all these new people, and I need links to their channel so I can sub.
I will. I'll pull that up and post it in the chat right now. What would you score this episode?
For the Mandalorian, if it the best episode would be a 10, which we haven't seen yet. Mm-hmm. I would give this a 7.5. I think it's one, and for the season, I'll give it an 8.5. You know, like, it's definitely the best episode of the season, but I'm also biased because I love Carl Weathers and Gina Carano together. You know, I think they're a great pairing. And Gina Carano I more support her now than ever because of her strength in being, you know, bullied in social media where you're not supposed to be allowed to be bullied anymore. She is, and she's standing up to it.
Yep. She is a true inspiration. She really is. She's a great human being, and I'm so happy to see her finally getting a chance to shine as an actress because, unpopular opinion, I loved Haywire. I mean,
oh god, yeah.
I said,
dude, come on.
I was in love with her when she was fighting MMA.
Same here.
Because I was like, she's like a model who just beats the hell out of other women.
She's what Ronda Rousey wanted to be.
Oh, you know, God.
10 times more beautiful. You know, Rousey might have won. You know, but when she was in she brought MMA for females to the forefront, and Ronda Rousey just took it to the next level.
Yep.
But Gina Carano, you saw some acting when they were talking. You know, spoilers for the episode when they were talking about the Alderaan part at the very end.
Oh,
you saw her, you know, communicate sadness. You saw her pain. So she's getting better.
That I was gonna say that part right there was that sequence was great because he puts down the New Republic symbol for, you know, it's trying to recruit her, and that's what my wife was like, is he trying to recruit? I'm like, yep.
That's your pilot. That's your pilot.
Yeah, I like seeing the X-Wings, man. Going back to episode 2 with the frog lady. That was one of the ice spiders were cool as hell in that. That's one thing I wanted to touch on before we go is the ice spider thing. That was really neat. I really dug that. And then I can't remember who it was, what YouTuber it was, had the the eggs hatching, and they were all the shrieking SJWs.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the quartering. Or I don't think it was Doomcock. I think it might have been the quartering, but oh my God, that made me laugh when I saw that. I was like, holy shit.
See, now if I scored that episode when I first watched it, I would have given it a lower score. But now that it's the only episode that I feel like didn't follow the cookie cutter narrative, I actually think it's a better episode than I did when I first watched it. The ice spiders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Angelus Draven DM. He said, I DM'd you my autograph photo of him. He's talking about Ben McKenzie.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice, awesome. Dude. You rock, bro. You rock. But yeah, I give this one. What did you say you give episode?
I give it a 7.5, but for the season, it's an 8.5.
I'm gonna have to honestly go with you on this one and go. I'd be between a 7 and a 7.5 on this one. Episode 3, I would say, was probably right on par action wise. But I would go with 7 with that, and I'll go with a 7.5 on this one. Episode 2, that departure. The only thing that took me out of the episode was the frog lady. I didn't like the character
and the whole egg thing. Like, come on.
Yeah, I thought it was funny when the child was eating the eggs because it pissed off people on Twitter who were out and saying he was committing genocide. I'm like, you do realize it's a puppet, right?
Right.
Like, that is a puppet.
Well, and you do realize those are not fertilized eggs. So how is that a genocide? That's like chicken, having eggs for breakfast is a genocide. You're a moron if you think that.
Yep. Yeah, but I mean, you have to consider the source of these the vitriol. I mean, it's
Right.
it's
See, I think this is building. Yeah, the vitriol is ridiculous, but I think the eggs and the cookies and all that crap is building up to something.
it's
I
gotta
think
be.
he's eating. He needs to eat this much because if he's 50 years old right now, and you know, Yoda was teaching Jedi's at 100, he
Mhm.
has to go through a massive growth spurt, like
Yeah,
unrealistic type growth spurt very soon, where the child now becomes like a young adult almost. You know what I mean? Like it has
Mhm.
to become somewhere in its preteens real fast. And
yeah,
I think that's what they're setting up. If not, it's just a stupid freaking thing they're doing
yep,
with this eating crap because I'm so sick and tired of this freaking puppet.
yeah, yeah. The puppet ain't real. Next thing you know, you're gonna tell me Santa Claus isn't real. Well,
Yeah,
sit back, Jack.
what?
Link 7 is going to be joining us shortly for the watch party. He is a regular on Raiders of the Lost Flicks Live on Friday night with my brother, the Groovinator, and he is also, like I said, one of the older guests that and listeners to the Place to Be Reviews podcast that used to be on Anchor. And one day, if I have enough time, I will upload some of the original Anchor podcasts with myself and my former co-host MJ and our myriad of guests that we had on when I just used to sit on a futon in this room that I'm in now with Stanley behind me and talking to my phone. And that was how the podcast and this YouTube channel all started. So yeah, it's been dude, it has been great talking Mando with you.
Yeah,
brother.
man.
I've
Yeah.
enjoyed this. I have really enjoyed this. Thank you. I
Same
do
here.
appreciate you coming on, man.
No, thank you for letting me invite myself.
You know, I wanted to do this tonight. Like I said, I wasn't sure about doing 2 streams, but this has been so seamless that it was absolutely a blast. And like
Yes,
I said,
sir.
man, this has been fun, and we do need to do this again. But
Yeah, we'll find some time. We'll have to do it.
yeah, it's I know you've got, like I said, you've got a hectic schedule, and it's, you know, like I said, I usually end up with you guys on Tuesday nights here and there. So
Yep.
and I'd like to thank you, man. You must have steered some people to my show last Wednesday. I had it was Tony and I, and Rookie Critic joined us, and Steven came on, and we ended up actually having one of the best Wednesday night shows we've ever had on the channel.
Nice.
So we had honestly, like I said, I tonight, you know, it's kind of slow in the chat. We've had 4, 5, 6 people in the chat. I appreciate you guys all. We had like 17 people in the chat on Wednesday night, and like
That's
I said,
beautiful.
for a small channel, man, I appreciate the hell out of that. You know, it was a fun show, and no, just I've had a great time with this, and getting to meet everybody and networking with new people, and you know, working collabing with new creators has been great for me.
Yeah. Well, Steven totally supports what you're doing, and I see why. So, you know, every time on the dump for Wednesday nights, we're trying to, you know, push people towards your channel. So hopefully you get more. I mean, that's what we're all supposed to do. Help each other out, you know, as best as we can. You can't help every single person out there, just like, you know, Gary has helped me out, you know, tremendously. I can't pay that forward yet, but I'm trying my best to help people out.
Well, it's all appreciated, man. It is, because this community is a great thing. There's a lot of talent here, and it needs to be recognized for what it is. There's a lot of great creators. Like my man, like I said, I talked about Clown World View, Tony Tonedeaf. He's got 50 subscribers right now, and he's putting out videos that are better than some 10,000 subscriber channels I've seen.
Oh, hell yeah, man. You just got to keep at it. That's it.
Yep. It's quality. And that's the thing is, like, I promised you guys a Friday the 13th review today. I am sorry life happened, but you're getting 2 live streams out of me today. So
there you go. You made up for it.
Yep. You'll get that Friday the 13th part 7 review tomorrow. It's not going to be the long form that you're used to in my reviews, because Friday the 13th part 7 is a fucking horrible movie. and I say that from a place of love, because Friday the 13th is my favorite horror franchise.
Yeah, it's
but
the best. Part
7 is just, it would have been much cooler had they gone and gotten Sissy Spacek and had Carrie versus Jason. But Lar Park Lincoln was good. There's obviously I have some positive things to say about it, but there's just a lot of negative about that movie. But that's another topic. And Scotty, go ahead and tell the folks where they can find you.
All right. Yeah, just where am I? Yeah, so Saturday. I haven't done a Saturday night in a while. That'll be in 2 weeks. But Monday, Wednesday nights, I do streams, and Saturday when I finally get home. Monday and Wednesday are at 7. So just come over to Sporking News. But make sure you guys check out everybody in the Rogue and the Fourth Wave. Support one another. And make sure you're still subbed to people you like, because you'll be shocked how many times they unsub people to my channel or other people's channels. So make sure you're still subbed, and definitely thank you for having me on, brother.
Oh, dude, anytime, man. You are absolutely welcome here. You know what I mean? I'm putting a link to your channel in the description right now. There is a link to the Sporking News Podcast in the chat. You can subscribe to him. If you don't, I will find you and I will club you like a baby seal. But no, man, thanks, brother. And it has been great. Like I said, being part of Rogue Entertainment and getting to work with all these new people. It is fantastic, man. And I have nothing but good things to say about you folks. Also, I'd like to give a big shout out to the Fandom Collective, man, the OG, Flipped Out, Jeff the Rookie Critic, and how did I not mention that Fanzine dropped by Wednesday night? That's I've been waiting to get on a stream with him because he's such a cool guy, and we've chatted.
Such a good guy.
He absolutely. You talk about, there's a lot of good. He is one of I've only known him a short time, and you can just tell with some people, this guy, he's just a good person. Yeah. And so big shout out to him. Fallon Reacts. Check her channel out. Fallon Reacts, the 13th Hour Gaming. And behind the scenes, you got Jet Penny, Little Miss Vixen making the cards over there. They're just doing the damn thing for the Fandom Collective. And that's it. Rise together. That's like the mantra of this community. So with that being said, we got to take it home because I got another stream to do. Scotty, thank you, brother. And we will do this again very soon.
Yes, sir.
So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I am Etepo Kuyin of the Place to Be Reviews. I've been here with all of yous. And normally I say, if I don't see you, have a great day and a pleasant tomorrow. But we'll be back in less than 10 minutes with Sworn to Justice, a watch party right here. So we're out. That's it. We're gone. See ya. Have a great one. Come back, though.
Wash your hands.
Wash your ass. There. That's for Steven.